For more, let's bring in our panel tonight. Stephanie Miller, nationally syndicated radio talk show host, and Ernest Istook with us tonight, former Republican congressman who served on the Appropriations Committee. Ernest, let me start with you first tonight. And did the president say anything that you agree with?
The president said a lot of things that I agree with. If you look at the first part, he articulated basically the same rationale that we heard from the former administration, which tells you something. When they have so many disagreements and yet they agree that national security is at stake here, then there's something at play. I'd like to point out one part of his speech that I have not heard mentioned tonight, because he went through this a lot, the rationale. He said, our security is at stake in Afghanistan and Pakistan. This is the epicenter of the violent extremism practiced by al-Qaeda. It's from here that we are attacked on 9/11, and from here that new attacks are being plotted as I speak. He went on to expressly mention the plots that were uncovered just a couple of months ago. He referred to them. Remember the bombing plots against New York, against Illinois, and against Texas, buildings targeted there, and he indicated here that those were planned in this area. That's something that hasn't been disclosed before.
Obviously, the president is schooled up on this.
That's right.
But he's also mopping up what Bush and Cheney left behind. We left Afghanistan to go fight a war in Iraq. Stephanie, your thoughts?
Ed, you know, I'm torn on this. As a liberal, not a fan of war. As a woman, not a fan of the Taliban. And I think that, you know, it's what you've been saying all night. This is another enormous mess that the Bush administration has left for President Obama. And I say we give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, the Senate report confirmed exactly what you and I have known. The Bush administration was disastrously incompetent at Tora Bora and in the whole execution of Afghanistan in general. And this is what he campaigned on, Ed. He said we need to finish the job there. We took our eye off the ball and went into Iraq.
Why didn't
what happened to blaming the terrorists instead of the Bush Cheney people?
Ernest, let me ask you, why didn't the Bush administration finish the job in Afghanistan?
The question is not whether they conducted it perfectly. I'm not trying to say that they did. Okay. But they saw the threat. They tried to address the threat. You can say they did it imperfectly, but they didn't plot the attacks.
But Dick Cheney has come out today.
They didn't plot the continuing attacks.
Let's not confuse what's being talked about here. Dick Cheney came out today. Dick Cheney came out today and has said basically that, you know, this wasn't their fault. The Bush administration is not the reason why we are where we are in Afghanistan. I mean, how in the world can you reason with that? I mean, there's got to be an element of honesty here. This president is going into Afghanistan to mop up what the last administration didn't do for the last 8 years. Would you admit that? Would you admit that?
This president is also committing, I think, some serious mistakes in telegraphing when we're going to leave, in not committing as much resources as the military told him was necessary to this.
Ernest,
so you can criticize his
winning? Is it, do we have to stay there forever?
Like you can criticize Bush's.
Why can't there ever be an exit strategy with people on the right wing? I don't understand.
Because the
staying
threat
forever,
is still
that's
there,
the only
Stephanie.
way we win.
The threat is still there. As President Obama said tonight, the recent terrorist plots that we discovered that were people trying to bomb buildings here in Illinois, in Texas, and New York were plotted over there. The threat is still real.
Of course it's still there. That's why he's going back in there. But the fact is we shouldn't have to go back in there if we had done it right the first time, but we left and went to Iraq. Stephanie, is there any grace period at all for the president?
Blame the terrorists.
Ed, you know what? Look, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office has proved the president right in recent days on health care. It will lower people's premiums. It has proved him right on the stimulus. It has, you know, saved or created 1.6 million jobs. And I say give him the benefit of the doubt on this is another huge mess he's trying to mop up, just like the economy. And I say let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
Stephanie and Ernest, thanks for joining us tonight.
Okay,
appreciate it. Coming